Live from the Kodak Theater at Hollywood and Highland in Los Angeles, California.
Welcome to the red carpet. It's A-list all the way.
Nothing but glass.
We are ready, so kick it!
Hi, this is Josh Marshall from TPM. It's Wednesday, December 31st, 2008, the last day of 2008. By long-standing tradition, the last day of the year is the day that we announce that year's winners of the Golden Duke Awards, and today is no different. So we are bringing you now the official final winners to close out 2008 of the 2008 Golden Duke Awards. Now, before we get the festivities underway, let's review again who this year's judges are. Remember, readers nominated the entries and those were passed on to our panel of 6 judges who made the final determination. This year, the judges were, and still are for the next few minutes, Spencer Ackerman, Susie Bright, John Dean, Hendrik Hertzberg, Paul Keel, and Dahlia Lithwick. Now, in our first category this year, we had Sleaziest Campaign Ad, extremely competitive category, and the nominees in that category were Elizabeth Dole, John McCain, Sam Graves for his famous San Francisco Values ad attacking Kay Barnes, Saxby Chambliss, and Virgil Good of Virginia. And the winner is Elizabeth Dole. You know, the judges didn't have much question about this. It was pretty much straight up. But the interesting thing, some of the most interesting judge commentary came about one of the runners-up, and that's Sam Graves for his gay-bashing ad attacking opponent Kay Barnes in that House race down in Missouri. For a couple of our judges, the key was that Graves, you know, he's making a homophobic ad, but he's apparently so homophobic that he couldn't actually put 2 men together in the ad. It had to be one gay man who was then, you know, dancing around with 2 women. So, you know, kind of a little conflicted, Sam Graves. Here's what Spencer Ackerman said. He said, would have won it all if he'd gone all out and showed 2 men dancing together, but bonus points for making the homosexual black. This man is clearly closeted. Now, Judge Paul Keel, a TPM alum, had a similar sense. He said, Graves' sleaze artists couldn't bring themselves to portray an actual pair of homosexuals. Instead, we get a man sandwiched between 2 tarts. Doing most of the work is a muscle-bound guy's gay getup, a sleeveless yellow canary shirt with cowboy hat, and to dispel any possible confusion that he's just come back from wrangling cattle, he's black. The multiracial nature of the orgy is in fact a key signal that something's not right with this picture. As for his companions, I know they're supposed to appear loose, but I can't get over the fact that they're decked out like 1986 clubgoers as dimly imagined by a church matron. Next up, we had another very competitive category, Best Election Season Fib. And the nominees in this category were Hillary Clinton, John McCain, Mitt Romney, and Sarah Palin. But Sarah Palin actually was nominated twice in this category, once for the Bridge to Nowhere lie, and then again for her entire campaign performance. And the winner is Sarah Palin. Not a big surprise here. In fact, the judges had very little question about who was going to be the winner. Susie Bright, Judge Susie Bright, was the only one. She put down Hillary Clinton, but everybody else picked Sarah Palin. The only controversy was whether or not she deserved it, particularly for the Bridge to Nowhere lie or just general lying every day of that 2-month period when she was a big national media star. But she ended up winning it specifically for the Bridge to Nowhere lie. Now, there's a few other details in here about what happened. Susie Bright actually took it upon herself to nominate Sarah Palin for a special achievement award just for her. Now, here's what Susie said. Not since Shirley Temple burst forth in the good ship Lollipop have we seen such a prodigious ingenue. Palin's gothic family life, Alaska-sized fibs, unshakable corruption, lunatic religiosity, all in one gorgeous package made for TV. Can't you at least send her a t-shirt? Now, here's the thing. The judges are actually not allowed to create special awards, so I'm going to have to warn Susie about this transgressive judge behavior. But in any case, still a very good point about Sarah Palin. Similarly, TPM Muckraker alum Paul Keel marveled at just the multiple facets and dimensions of Palin's lies about the Bridge to Nowhere. Here's what Paul had to say. For sheer scope, you can't beat Palin's Bridge to Nowhere fib. Like a prism, it revealed a new facet with each examination. Briefly, here's my accounting of, if not all, then the most of the distortions hidden in the fib. And at that point, Paul goes on, and you can see, you know, we have a special page where on our site where you can go and see all the judges' commentary. And Paul actually, I mean, it's so long. He's got so many different facets, I can't even read it all. But you can go read it on the TPM website and see all the different dimensions that Paul came up with of the Palin fib. Next up, the next category is Outstanding Achievement in Corruption-Based Chutzpah. And the nominees in this category are Vito Fossella, Edward Nottingham, Rod Blagojevich, Sarah Palin, and fellow Alaskan Ted Stevens. And the winner is Governor Rod Blagojevich. Now, the truth is, this is hardly a surprise. The truth is, you have to sympathize with the other nominees, since Blagojevich, he just kind of knocks everybody else out of the park. Judge Rick Hertzberg actually made a push for Vito Fossella, and he made a decent argument when you mix in the love child and the DWI, the arrest, and then being too cheap to call a cab, but you know, calling the mistress to come pick him up from the jail, that kind of led to everything unwinding. But again, as I said in the nominees show, that's, you know, is that chutzpah or is that just being a moron? It's hard to say. But Rod Blagojevich, the winner for Best Corruption-Based Chutzpah. Next up, we have Best Scandal, Sex and Generalized Carnality. And the nominees are Eliot Spitzer, Gregory Smith, Governor Jim Gibbons of Nevada, former presidential candidate John Edwards, Mike Corona, sheriff out in Orange County, who basically just has affairs with secretaries. I think that's all he's known for. And finally, Tim Mahoney, outgoing member of Congress from Florida. And the winner is John Edwards. A lot of gnashing of teeth, a lot of disappointment in this, but the judges really had a very little question that John Edwards was the winner. In fact, in addition to that disappointment in John Edwards, there was a certain disappointment that some of the judges expressed about even the nominations this year. You know, Susie Bright had this to say: "We don't have the quality of X-rated hypocrisy in this category that we enjoyed in 2007 with the trifecta of Larry Craig, David Vitter, and Bob Allen. Where are our kinky Christian warriors this year? Vanilla heterosexual adultery seems kind of like a snooze. But given what I've got, I had to hand the big duke to John Edwards, though not because of the insult to his wife, which was grievous but sadly ordinary. No, people do terrible things when cancer hits their family. There should be a warning brochure on the subject. The enormity of Edwards' hubris is that he led millions of people on a wild goose chase as their chosen progressive candidate. He had a chance, and he thought what the Democratic Party needed right now was a presidential philanderer." A different kind of silent protest came from Judge Rick Hertzberg. "If we must have sex scandals, they ought to be lighthearted and free of draconian punishments. Ideally, they shouldn't exist at all, except as adjuncts to something else scandalous. I don't mean, quote-unquote, raises questions about poor bastard's judgment. That's circular bullshit. Even in Edwards' case, I don't see the logic. If he really does have lousy judgment, plenty of non-sexual examples ought to be adducible from his public record. On this one, I basically voted for the most obscure cases on the grounds that people like Spitzer and Edwards had more to lose and were therefore treated more unfairly. I realize that I'm being perverse and not getting with the spirit of the category. Therefore, I authorize you to ignore my choices in this category. I mean that." Doesn't say a lot for Rick's, you know, ability to get with the spirit of the category, but we still included his choice, which was Corona, the sheriff down in Orange County. Next category, Best Scandal Local Venue. You know, the big league scandals tend to get all the press, but there's a lot of great corruption and you know, just sort of moral failings down at the local level, down at the grassroots, you might say. So we also try to honor these entrants as well. So the nominees in Best Scandal Local Venue are Mark Funkhauser, Kansas City Mayor, Kwame Kilpatrick, Bill Sizemore, Diane Wilkerson, and Stephen Lipsky. And the winner is Kwame Kilpatrick, former mayor of Detroit. You know, I said during the nomination show, I don't like to express my opinion since my position here at TPM. I don't want to prejudice the vote, but I didn't think there was any question that Kwame Kilpatrick deserved this award. He worked for it. He had a scandal that really brought together all of the key all the key kind of scandalous behavior. He really could have been nominated and won in any of these categories. You've got violence, venal corruption, sex and affairs, recorded conversations. So you had everything put together. Actually, you could see, if we didn't already have Duke Cunningham, I would consider renaming the awards the Golden Kwames, because, you know, the reason we have Duke Cunningham as the name is that that's sort of the 21st century scandal, brings everything together, and Kilpatrick came pretty damn close. Now, once again, Rick Hertzberg is a bit of an outlier here, not going with the crowd, not picking Kwame Kilpatrick, but he picked Stephen Lipsky. Now remember, he's the New Jersey office holder who urinated on a number of his constituents at a Grateful Dead concert. I mean, frankly, I didn't even know the Grateful Dead was still touring. But anyway, here's what Rick said about Lipsky and why he got his vote. Quote, "Win, place, and show. Lipsky wins for creating a multi-level metaphor, reaching Bill Ayers-level heights of boomer narcissism while displaying Cheney-like contempt for constituents." Well, that's pretty good. That's clever, but I still think, I don't know, I don't care what Hertzberg says. I think Kilpatrick's obviously the winner. But anyway, there you go. And finally, we have Best Scandal General Interest. This is the best picture of the Golden Duke Awards, and pretty strong contenders again this year. And the nominees are George Bush, Sarah Palin, Ted Stevens, Rod Blagojevich, and Kwame Kilpatrick. And the winner is George Bush for achievement in destroying the American economy.
Thank you all. Please be seated.
Now, in the Oscars, you know, sometimes you'll have a veteran actor win Best Actor or Best Actress, and you'll kind of wonder, is it really for that particular role, in this case, that particular scandal, or do they just win it for sort of lifetime achievement because the judges want to honor not just what they did in this year, but what they've done through a whole career? And I think to some extent you might have that with George W. Bush. You know, he's going to be leaving office in less than a month, and I think there was a desire on the behalf of the judges just to honor almost a decade worth of scandal and incompetence and corruption and sleaze that President Bush brought to the country and to the Golden Duke Awards.
Most of all, I thank the American people for the tremendous privilege of serving as the president. May God bless you.
So those are this year's winners of the Golden Duke Awards. I want to thank again our panel of 6 judges and also the readers who sent in the winning nominations. Again, today is December 31st. Tomorrow is New Year's Day. We're going to be off, but we will be back bright and early January 2nd on Friday. I'm Josh Marshall from TPM Media, and we'll talk to you next week.